Gotta
Well,
stop the screen share.
yeah, we'll have to go back and
You stop the screen share, then they can start recording.
Yeah.
I'll get you here. We are recording. We are recording. We are good. Okay.
Okay, kind of start from the first.
I'll say, I believe we were already recording, so we're good. We're good, I believe. Okay, so back to the fact that this demographic, older adults, are more likely to be targeted by cybersecurity attacks and scams that occur. That is going to increase, we realize, with the number of individuals that are getting into technology, specifically with AI. The fact that you want to be involved in artificial intelligence and all of the benefits that it brings is actually going to make you a little bit more of a target as well. So you need to learn how to protect yourself. And a lot of it's common sense. We talked about that on the way in as well, that it's just being vigilant and using your intuition, going with your gut, not trusting anything that you see really without being very vigilant about making sure that it's a valid source that it's coming from. But we'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. Okay, so a little bit of a icebreaker. We already have my introduction, but just an icebreaker question for you. What's the most recent piece of technology you've used or learned about? Something brand new that you've just picked up on and tried to use. The chat GPT? Okay, good. Okay. Anyone else? Has anyone else used Chat GPT or any of the other platforms that are out there? Oh, I have a bunch of new folks in there. This will be good. She says she's back with the social media stuff. Okay. How about your cell phones? Does anyone use any apps on those, or do you just use them as a cell phone?
I use apps, yeah.
You use apps? Okay. What types of apps do you use on there that are interesting or helpful to you in your day to day? Okay,
Cameras,
that's a good one.
house cameras.
Okay, great. Okay, so that's actually a very good thing. A very good thing. I've got a slide about that a little later on, and I'll tell you why. I tell people often when I'm talking about artificial intelligence that if you just use this as a flashlight, then you've got a very expensive flashlight, don't you? But a lot of people are afraid. Now, my mother falls within the demographic that you guys are, and she is the world's best at trying out new things. My dad, on the other hand, he wants the flip phone. All he wants to do is open it up, answer it, and be able to talk to the other person. And he refuses to text. He says, do not text me because I do not text back. So I love the attitude that my mother has about it, about trying new things. So we had a variety there of new technologies that you've tried, but only a couple that have tried anything with artificial intelligence. So what do you define as artificial intelligence? If somebody says AI on the news or uses the term artificial intelligence or Gen AI, or what, how do you define that? What do you think of?
You can call customer service and you tell them what's wrong.
Anybody else? What is artificial intelligence?
Something smarter than us.
Ah,
Non-human.
non-human. Okay.
You can ask it a question.
Pam?
You can ask it a question.
You can ask it a question. That's right. Okay. Where does it get its knowledge? It is machine learning, but it gets its knowledge from the humans.
The keyboard.
The humans. There was an old phrase when we were first, my husband and I were first learning technology, a lot younger, garbage in, garbage out.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same thing with artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is not a robot sitting over in the corner of the room that has all of this knowledge within it. It has to be trained by human beings. And Chat GPT that you mentioned has been training on all of us that are using it over the last about a year or so. That's what it's training on. So if we give it a bunch of garbage, it's going to spit a bunch of garbage out, and we can talk about that a little bit later on too. There's some prejudice, some bias, some, you know, there can be some bad things that come from it. All right. But somebody mentioned machine learning. AI is the ability of a computer or a machine to learn and perform tasks that usually require human intelligence. And we really heard about it when OpenAI came on the scene and started with ChatGPT, but it's been around for a long time. The concept has been around since really the 1940s. 1950s and 60s is when they started doing experiments with artificial intelligence. And then I work with a group of folks with a platform, and they were working with artificial intelligence in the 90s. So it's nothing new. This, I like to think of it though as kind of like our new industrial revolution. We call it a disruptive technology. Do you know what I mean by disruptive technology? It's something that's going to come in and it's going to completely change the way we do things from the bottom up and the top down.
Yeah, check your screen share. Zoom.
Honey, I can't see it from here.
Export to the rescue.
Tech support to the rescue. It was on. Unless it got kicked off.
There we go.
Okay. My apologies to those of you on Zoom.
Yep, you're still.
But while he's doing that, a disruptive technology, I'm holding one right in my hand. When the cell phone came on the scene, how many different things did it change?
Pretty much everything.
Pretty much everything, right? You know, we all are carrying a computer in our pocket now or in our pocketbook, when computers used to take up entire buildings. Brian has often talked about making a field trip to Ole Miss to look at a mainframe there, and it literally took up
Yeah, it would have been the entire upstairs of this,
right.
of this building.
So things have changed a lot, and it disrupted business, disrupted how we conduct business, disrupted how we do all of everything that we do in our life, not necessarily in a bad way, although some would argue maybe so, but how did it change, for example, shopping? You shop online? Yeah. Yeah.
I can see.
You can sit anywhere and go on Amazon and order something from your phone and it be here tomorrow. So it's completely changed. That's just one example of how it disrupted business, and we could come up with a lot more. So AI is a disruptive technology. The way we do things is not ever going to go backward. It's going to change from here on out. And this is going to be a change that is very similar to those large things that have happened over the centuries. And every time one of those large events occurred, there was always fear. There was always hesitancy. There was always maybe misunderstanding of how it worked. A lot of people are afraid of change, and a lot of people have been afraid of artificial intelligence. Have there been any statements that you've heard from people about how bad artificial intelligence is going to be for our society? What kind? What kind of statements?
Well, they say they can take your picture and put it on something else.
Right.
They can show me a picture. Somebody show a picture what they have these big old plants, and they're not really that big.
Right. So you don't know if a video, a photo, those are called deep fakes, if those are real. In my background, I said, is as an attorney, and that's a big issue in the legal community right now, is whether or not or how you're going to be able to authenticate evidence that's introduced to the court in a video or audio form, when now we have the ability with just a few touches of a button to create videos, create audio that are very soon going to be just exactly, audio's right there. Audio, you can't tell the difference between my voice and AI creating my voice. I guarantee you. Video, it still looks a little rough. You know, you can have an expert that could look at that and say that that's artificial intelligence, but that's a huge issue. So every aspect of our society is now dealing with, what do we do with this? There are no experts on how to authenticate that evidence in a court right now. There may be a couple in the country that are going to be expert witnesses in the next couple of years. Well, how is everybody that needs an expert witness to come in and testify to the authenticity of a video or an audio going to be able to utilize them? Big, huge questions. So that's the reason we have everything from international government to our national, federal government, local government, all the way down, dealing with what are we going to do with this intelligence as it goes forward. All right, I'm going to skip that one so I give you we'll make sure we have enough time. There's two types of AI for our purposes. There's narrow AI that's designed for very specific tasks. And sometimes when I ask a group, like I did with you guys in the beginning, about your experience with artificial intelligence, you say, I don't have any. And then if I start telling you a few things, you're going to go, wait a minute, I do use artificial intelligence all the time. Have any of you used, or do you use Siri on your iPhone? Siri's artificial intelligence. How about at home? Do you have Alexa? Alexa's artificial intelligence. Do any of you have a Roomba or a Shark vacuum, one of the automatic? It uses artificial intelligence to map your house. You're using artificial intelligence. I love the look on her face there. When you go online, most of your banks, do they have a little chatbot feature now on the
Yeah.
corner where you can talk to your customer service representative? Let me tell you, you're not talking to your customer service representative. That's AI. You're talking to a machine on the other side that's learned all of that material from a human being. You're not interacting with a human being. So you're using AI all the time in so many ways, and have been for a number of years. It's just, it was not defined, and it wasn't as, when ChatGPT came out, it kind of got thrust in our face a little bit. Then there's general AI, which performs any intellectual task that a human can. And that's really more theoretical right now. That's what's evolving as we learn more, as the technology grows. It's not quite there yet. It's going to continue to evolve. But those are our two types of AI. Here's where you see AI in your daily life and the areas that you may not know it's in. It's all over healthcare. Doctors, nurses, practitioners, they use AI as a diagnostic tool and have been doing it for a number of years. They take all of your symptoms that you're presenting if you go to the ER, and there are specialized platforms that are particularly targeted toward healthcare, and they will input that information into that tool, and it spits out, this may be what you're dealing with. Check this, ask more questions, do this or that. Did you know they were doing that? No. There's also in Baton Rouge, there's a healthcare organization that is practicing with their clinical notes. You know, the doctors used to they'd literally have a notepad, right? And write down everything when they were in the room with you. And then it went to typing it in. Now we're going to, it's just recording what you're interacting with your doctor about. And it's in the room recording all that information so that they have better notes, better treatment plans. Now, some people will say, hey, that's a little bit scary because of privacy concerns there. Diagnostics, treatment plans, it's in your banks, it's in the finance industry, fraud detection, stock trading, customer service. I mentioned that a moment ago. It's all over entertainment, entertainment industry, any of your creative arts, book writing. I'm trying to think of what else with entertainment, music, the music industry.
Hollywood, they going on strike.
Well, right, right.
That sure did.
They did, they said, but you know, I have heard a lot of business leaders say that was a bad move because, and you can, whichever side you're on. Because instead of saying, let's embrace this and do it the right way, they just said no. You know, you can't say no because it's not going anywhere. So you've got to figure out how to embrace it and do it the correct way instead of just completely shutting down. Smart homes. We mentioned the robots. Smart homes are huge. And then home automation. I bet everybody in here's got a programmable thermostat at your house, don't you? That's AI. Their automation is in everything, our security systems. I found this really great article, AI, a beacon of hope in elder care, which I thought was perfect for our group here. And it starts off by saying, in the twilight years of life, when the pace slows down and the simple acts of daily living become challenging, artificial intelligence emerges as a powerful ally. It's a testament to how technology, often criticized for distancing human connections, can actually bring us closer and make the golden years truly golden. I loved the idea of that, and I wanted to learn more about what they were saying. So imagine a world where the elderly, who, as we know, unfortunately, sometimes end up spending hours or days without human contact. They don't have somebody in their life that can listen to them, that's there for them. I think about individuals that are in nursing homes, rehab facilities, maybe members of their family have gone on. They have a companion that can actually listen to them, learn from them, and interact with them to help keep that loneliness at bay. And it exists already. There's one, I put the URL for it up there, this particular device, which you would have to have a subscription for, of course, because everything costs. But it does just that. It's built to interact with individuals who need that in their life, need that support. Monitoring health. Some of this we already have. One of the groundbreaking applications of AI in elder care is health monitoring and predictive care. Wearable devices. Anybody know of, or maybe an individual who has diabetes?
Right here.
Right. Do you have one? Okay, there you go. How different is that than maybe when you were originally diagnosed with
Oh,
diabetes?
it's a big change because it reads it every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it also predicts the load when
Yes.
it's coming. So I can do certain things so I don't get crash or I don't get too much.
Right.
Too high.
Huge benefit to that. And that's
It screams and yells and it's got alarms.
right. So we have wearable devices now that can help us, as you said, predict certain events. And it's not just for diabetes. And that's growing in the healthcare industry exponentially right now. Home sensors that can sense things, conditions in your home that are not what they need to be, that may be dangerous for you. And then early detection, as you said, prediction. Machine learning, we mentioned earlier. And all that means is the more you use that particular platform, that particular machine, the more it's able to customize what information it gives back out to you. It really learns you. Now, it's not a living, breathing thing, but it's taking all of that information in and adding it to the information it already has and customizing things. Being used, and I think this is fantastic, to help manage Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia. So you mentioned playing bridge on your phone. We know that playing games, word games, reading, different types of interactions are so good for individuals who have dementia. Well, when you're using something that's geared with artificial intelligence for that, as you are learning, as things are changing with you, it's changing as well to provide you the best care that it can, so that you're not succumbing to those symptoms as quickly as you might otherwise. So that's a definite benefit there. We mentioned some of the smart homes devices that are out there. Think about them in terms of facilitating independence. And I mentioned one that may seem pretty small to some folks, but has been huge for me and my husband, and that's the Roomba. A few years ago, I fractured my femur. and was down for a good long time in a wheelchair because of that. He bought a Roomba because we have dogs and didn't need to have the fur in the house all the time. And I couldn't take care of the floors like I did before. Well, we would never be without one now. There's no way. But that helped facilitate cleanliness for us in our household. And that's just a small example. Voice activated devices. If you have somebody that has problems with mobility, then they can use the voice activated devices, smart thermostats, all of those types of platforms. And then we can have platforms that integrate all of those things. So it's not just them operating in their individual silos. So your whole household is integrated to whatever your specific needs are. Okay, I have mobility restrictions. I have diabetes. I need this, I need that, whatever it is, you feed all that information in there, and then it's designed to keep your home in that optimal condition to make sure that you can stay at home and not have to have someone come into care for you or enter a nursing home facility or whatever the care or whatever the case may be. And that's only going to get better. Enhanced communication and connection. Did any of you utilize more technology during COVID lockdown? Telehealth, you hit one huge one. That really COVID pushed telehealth forward. It really did. And I don't know that it would have advanced as quickly without it, but it did push telehealth forward. I do a lot of volunteering in disasters all across, well, even outside of the United States. And we were using telehealth as a way to get health care in disaster zones, but it was not as elaborate as it is now. That's a huge advance. You don't even have to go into a brick and mortar doctor's facility now, or you can go to a facility and then have a visit with someone who's thousands of miles away. You don't have to travel to that location anymore. I could talk forever, so I need to hurry up. I'm a part of a group that was looking for mental health treatment options for refugees in Ukraine when the war first started there a couple of years ago now. There were 6.5 million people that were displaced during that time frame. And they were in all different parts of Europe, some in the United States, mostly in Europe. We ended up using and coming up with a chatbot, artificial intelligence, mental health app to be able to make sure that they had the kind of support that they needed while they were displaced. We just now have got data back from that. Do you know what the number one thing that we're seeing across the board is as the benefit of that app? Connection. Now, you would not think that because you tend to think of artificial intelligence as making us more disconnected. The feedback that we were getting from individuals was, even though they're not talking to a human being, somebody cared. That chat bot was programmed by a human being, information given to it by a human being, but it was set up so that it would contact them and make sure, okay, the other day you were feeling stressed about this. Are you feeling any better? What can I do to help you? What information can I give you to help you relieve your stress, make your situation better? What resources can I connect you to? So knowing that there was somebody out there that cared about their situation was as much benefit to them as sometimes the information they were receiving. So that's one of my big hopes, is that artificial intelligence will facilitate connection within our society that we have lost in some ways with technology. Okay, so the general benefits of AI are that it's more efficient, it's faster, it's more accurate in performing tasks. We can personalize it, customize it, like we said a moment ago. We can tailor it to our individual needs, and it's accessible. It's everywhere. And it's accessible in free forms and then paid forms as well. So it's pretty democratized across the board there. We'll go to that in a second. Any questions about that quick overview there or comments? Okay, since what I do is related to businesses, I wanted to show you a use case that's a little small, but I'll just tell you about it, of how we utilize artificial intelligence in businesses to help them become more efficient. And this is just one example. In this particular case, one of our clients had been unable to scale their business up and control their costs. And what we do is go in and help them analyze the things that they can do to control costs so that they have a return on investment. And we brought in some solutions to them that were artificial intelligence. And one of the basic things that we do for almost every business is we come in and change how they do customer service, just like the gentleman said over here. We install chatbots or install automatic responses to emails so that a human being is not answering the same basic question over and over. We had one company who their average per month was 25,000 emails that asked basic questions like, when will I receive my return? Like, I'm trying to think of something, that would be the same over and over and over, a question, a mundane type question. That's something that you could teach the chat bot, give that information to them, and it automatically spit that back out to a customer, and a human being never has to be involved in it. You know how much that saved them per email? $8 an email in costs. So 20,000 emails a month at $8 an email, that's a pretty significant savings for a mid-sized business. So there's a lot of things that can be done, and then it can get as complex as you can imagine with artificial intelligence in small, mid-size, and then larger businesses to save them dollars. So then their employees are able to better focus on tasks that they want to spend more time on, but they get caught doing the mundane things. They get caught in the weeds and can't get to the development and the innovation and so forth. Does that make sense? I know email is a huge one. I know my husband, that's one of his big complaints. He hates to start in first thing in the morning and have all those emails right in front of you that you have to go through. How long does it take you to weed through those? So if it's something that a human being doesn't have to make a decision about, isn't it better to let the machine handle that? And then you can handle the more people oriented processes and have time to do that. The data scientists tell us that if you implement artificial intelligence into your business, that it can save you up to, on average, a day and a half of time per week. Now, if you're working, yeah, I love to see her wheels moving over here. What could you do with an extra day and a half of time during a work week? You're not wrong. Take off. That will help employees if they have the ability to not be working an 80-hour work week to, that's a huge one. Your employees are more satisfied. They're happier. A happier employee gives you a better work, better efficiency. So lots of good things in the business world there. So big concerns about AI we mentioned some of them: privacy, bias, job displacement. How many of you have heard that when we institute artificial intelligence into the workplace, a lot of people are going to lose their jobs? You've heard that?
Yes.
Some people will, no doubt. But the key is retraining, because you can't do this without human beings. So if you don't learn and don't retrain your employees or retrain yourself as an individual to bring artificial intelligence into your life, then yeah, you're going to be one of those that's going to be left behind and is going to lose your job. And then there's some areas like marketing, where now I can go on ChatGPT and I can create a marketing plan with these beautiful pictures and portfolios and everything, and I don't have to go hire a marketing company anymore. Yeah, it's gonna change our dynamic. It's gonna be just like when we started ordering everything online. How many businesses do you know, brick and mortar stores, that closed? A lot of them. That happens, right? But it also happened back when Walmart came into towns. Small businesses closed. The Main Street businesses closed, little boutiques and such closed. Nothing new here. It's just it's a changing dynamic. All right, I want to get to the safety part here. Okay, here's some of the common scams that are targeting seniors right now. Let me know if you've heard of them. Fake travel guidebooks and online product listings. This one's a big one because seniors like to travel, like to take the time in their retirement to see the places they've always wanted to see. One of the huge things that's occurring right now is people online are developing these fake trips, these fake guidebooks, buy our product, plan your trip, and there's nothing to it. Or you purchase a trip and there's nothing to it. So that's a huge one. And then just online product listings. You mentioned Facebook earlier. How many ads does Facebook have on it?
Ton of 'em,
Tons,
tons.
tons, just rolling on your Facebook feed all the time. And a good portion of those are, if you sent your money to buy whatever widget they're selling, you'll never see that money again. And you're certainly not going to see your widget because they're fake products. So the way that you can help yourself in that regard is just to verify everything. And if it looks like something that's fake, it probably is. Use your intuition. If it's on sale for $1.99 and you know that it costs $49.99 at Costco, you know it's fake. I don't know why people fall for those types of things.
You wanna believe.
You want to believe, I guess so. There are AI detection tools out there, and I put some of them up there for us. There's a service called GPT Zero, Fake Spot, and others like that, and those are all free. You can go into those and copy and paste whatever language is used in the advertisement, or if it's an email to you, and it'll tell you whether or not it was written by artificial intelligence or if it feels it's written by a human being. And then the biggest way, we're all smart enough. If you really look at those emails and things, you can tell the ones that are fake. Misspelled words, incorrect grammar. Look at the address that it comes from. If it's an address that is bunches of letters and foreign symbols and names and such, it's not a legitimate email. Okay, social engineering or personalized scams. Because so much of our information is out there now, these bad actors can target you individually. They know that you like these particular things. You like these particular things based on what you buy, based on how you surf the internet. You are more likely to have grandchildren, you this or that or whatever. And they engineer how they're targeting you based on that. So be very, very wary of that. A lot of those social engineering schemes are about investment opportunities. Brian and I were talking about this on the way here. It's not as if you buy a widget for $125 and you lose $125. These folks are losing tens of thousands and sometimes hundreds of thousands of retirement dollars because they fall for investment schemes. And often it's someone that they've met online, that they have made a relationship with online, and they talk them into this. So if it sounds too good to be true, it's usually too good to be true. There's lots of government material out there about how to avoid these types of scams. Verify the platforms that you're on. You can enable withdrawal notifications at your bank. So if something is withdrawn, or they have to notify you before something is withdrawn. There's different, if you're worried about security in that way, just contact your bank and say, I want to talk to you about what measures you have in place to prevent these types of things from happening. And they all have them, so they'll go through them with you. Make sure you have a trusted friend or a family member that you can take this information to and say, does this sound legit to you? And maybe that person has some technology background, or maybe they're your child, who can help you along with that. If it's a big enough investment, talk to an attorney. It's worth a couple of $100s to go see an attorney and let them look at something and see if it's legitimate. And then just use your intuition. Deep fake audio and video impersonations. We mentioned that already. Have you heard about the cases where someone will be contacted by their grandchild who says I'm in trouble,
I need somebody.
I need some money, need it right now, except it's not the grandchild. That's gonna happen more and more. No doubt. Ma'am? It's awful, isn't it? It really is. It really is. So independently verify any of those requests, even if they're from a familiar face or a familiar voice. Make sure there are security questions. You know how they ask us for security questions when we set up our passwords and such for different accounts? Have security questions, things that only your grandchild would know, only someone who's a trusted individual in your life would know. And don't give any personal information to an unexpected request, period. Just make that your rule. There are phishing emails. Is everyone familiar with what a phishing, phishing email is? This group should be, with being tech savvy. Those happen all the time. I think we get 4 or 5 a day at work, phishing emails, and they make them sound legit, like, I changed my bank account. I need to update my material, so I make sure that my check gets there on time. Well, if you're not careful, you would think, okay, that's legitimate. That's something I do as maybe the HR specialist at work, and you're going to let that one go through. But it's a phishing email. If you look at where it comes from, some of the language in it, all those things that we talked about a moment ago, you'll see it's not a legitimate email. Never enter your credentials unless you're on an official website. Make sure that it's a website that's secure. Screen all your emails and messages from unknown contacts. And there's another GPT-0 detection engine where you can input information once again and see if an email is legitimate or if it's been created by a robot and put out there. So there are tools out there, and you guys could probably spend a whole session going over those types of tools in the future. Government impersonation scams. These are huge too for older folks. I'm from the Medicare office, or I'm from the IRS, or name any other group like that. They'll call you and first thing they want to do is confirm your identity. Can you please give me your address? Can you please give me this information to confirm who you are? Those types of government organizations do not call you, first of all. So if you receive a call from someone like that it's not legitimate. Let's see. AI powered password crackers. This one's a big one. Because the technology is increasing so rapidly, the bad actors that are out there now can use artificial intelligence to crack your passwords faster as well. So make sure that you're doing everything you can to have passwords that are long, that meet all the parameters for whatever it's not your child's name or your pet's name, something that's easily identifiable. My husband's laughing. I'm going to let him tell him what you do and what the biggest fuss that people have is.
So I work with law enforcement in my daytime job. I am a part-time minister. And I have people complaining to me because we make them get a code on their phone or by their email every time they log in. That's the biggest complaint that they have is, can I just keep my same password and not have to use the code? Well, first of all, it's a violation of federal law. And second of all, the answer is no. But I have also been known to recover data from laptops for people. And I had a guy or a lady, her husband passed away. She brought his computer to me. She couldn't get into it because he never shared his computer password with her. I don't know why. It took me, there wasn't anything funny on the computer. But it took me, without using a password cracker, it took me 17 minutes to get into his computer because it was his pet parrot's first name. The parrot had 2 names. It was his pet parrot's first name, his daughter's birth year, and his son's birth month in that order. And I was able, personally, just me, I was able to crack the password less than 17 minutes.
And I know it's frustrating because when I was up here and trying to get ready, you saw me, I kept going back and forth between my computer and my phone. That's because I have everything with at least 2-factor authentication on it. And so everything that I have has an extra measure of security to it. So when I was getting on the computer here, it's saying somebody's trying to access your information through Google. I'm sending a code to your phone. So I have to get on my phone then and have the code on my phone. Then I have to hit it and say, yes, this is me. And then it'll go back and forth that way a few times. You have, if you want to be secure, you have to enable all of those things. And I know it's a pain and people hate it, but that's the way you're secure. And the other way you're secure is biometrics. Anybody know what biometrics are?
Fingerprint,
Your fingerprint.
face.
Yes, your face, all of those things, anything that can be utilized by whatever you're using at that time. Like I open mine up with my face. I also have my passwords done by fingerprint on my phone as well. And then password protection programs, utilize all of those. So spend some time educating yourself on all those ways to make sure that your account can be authenticated, and somebody's not trying to break into it. I actually have my mother's linked to me. So we did that, and my sister is linked as well. So we help mother keep track of her accounts and such. Not that we're looking, we don't care what she's emailing or what she's buying or anything like that. But that way, if anything goes wrong, we can get into, and we've had to recently get into,
Another account had to hack.
yeah, an account that way. All right. So let's have our little fun time here. So Open AI or Chat GPT. Who's our expert in the room on using Chat GPT? Somebody pointing fingers over right there. What do you use Chat GPT to do?
Well, I really don't use it much. I've demonstrated it a couple times at a couple of different meetings and stuff.
Okay.
And I usually just, have it write a poem and have depending on what club I'm talking to, have it, write a poem about whatever we're talking about, or, make a picture and
Okay.
all the standard stuff.
So the creative fun stuff. All right. Do you have okay, it says my screen sharing has stopped, Brian, because
Get on Chrome and then we'll share the screen.
I am on Chrome.
Okay, then just click OK and go back to.
Okay. And reshare.
Yep.
That should have it. Yeah, there we go. I think I minimized the wrong one.
Yeah, what we do, different countries on about Cajun clippers and.
Yeah. Do you have a paid version of Chat GPT? Do you use the free one? Okay. Which is perfectly fine.
Actually, I use Copilot more than Chat.
Do you? How do you like Copilot?
It's really not much different.
Okay.
It's more convenient because it's all built in all browsers and stuff. Already.
Right. Does everybody in the group realize that there are a number of these different platforms that you can utilize? I think all the groups I go to usually say Chat GPT is what they use. Open AI.
That's the one that gets all the advertising.
Right.
All publicity.
You're the first one I've ever said that likes Copilot, so I'm gonna have to figure out why.
I said I usually
Right.
use Copilot.
Right, okay.
I did say I like it.
Okay. And they all basically do the same things. It's like whichever browser you use. It's up to your own personal preferences on what you like there. I would highly suggest though, if you have not played with Chat GPT, I'm going to use it because that's the most common one. Do it. You can get you a free account. It's not going to hurt anything. You can play around with it. You're not going to break anything. You're not going to mess anything up. Just do not put any personal information into it at all.
You don't even need to make an account.
Yeah.
You can use your Google
Yep.
credentials and your
Yep.
Apple credentials and your.
Right. And then if you want to get any more serious than that, it's pretty cheap. I pay a little over $20, I think, a month, and I have the state of the art one. I have GPT 4, as you can see there, but you'll see it gives you, this is mine that I have projected up here and I use it all the time. I actually used it for making the presentation for you guys. And all I did, and mine knows me because I have used it for so long and I use it consistently, and it's always learning about me, and it's learning how I write, it's learning how I think, it's learning the types of things I research and what I'm looking for. And so it gets more and more personalized and customized all the time. So I just really quickly typed in, what are the types of things that older citizens need to know about artificial intelligence? Boop, 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 boop. How quickly does it spit it out? Spits it out pretty quickly, right? It makes me an outline of these are some possible topics. So it's just a way to kind of prompt brainstorming. I'm not letting it write all of that information for me, although I could, but it's getting me started on that. So what are some of the hobbies that you guys have in your lives, things that you like to do?
Computer.
Computers. That one, we can't talk about that one. That one doesn't help me right now. What else besides computers?
Artists.
What's that?
Artists.
Artist. Okay. You could go in. Who's your favorite artist?
Who is my favorite artist?
Yes, sir.
Me?
Who's your second favorite artist?
Oh, Da Vinci was pretty good.
Da Vinci. Okay. We're just going to tell me about, I can't type on this one. I'm not used to it. Da Vinci. Let's see what it comes up with.
And leave and correct your spelling too.
Yep.
Typing properly.
So I gave it a very, very general question. And so it goes in and gives me information, just basic information about Leonardo da Vinci, the background information, and then it talks about the artistic contributions, scientific and engineering achievements, personal traits and legacy, later life and death. So all of that stuff that you can kind of get from Google, but then you can go a little further from there. Let's think. Our prompts are what's most important. What do we want to know about Da Vinci? Maybe you want to paint something that's like Da Vinci.
What I was working on today is to set up a composition with the computer.
Were you? Ah, very interesting. Very interesting. And the more specific.
What you do on this one, we put Cajun cabin in a swampland with cypress trees.
Okay. Draw me a Cajun cabin.
It's gonna replace you, Irvin.
Huh?
It might replace you.
In swamp. I'm not even going to use proper language. In swamp. In
It'd be a better host than you.
Da Vinci style.
Oh, man, he's good.
It takes a couple minutes to come up. I don't like that one.
Well, it ain't in color.
It'll do three or four. It'll do three or four if you,
Uh-huh.
and then if it gets close, the thing about it is you can get something that you like. Or that you say, oh, I like this part of it.
Uh-huh.
Then you can modify that and draw it yourself
Right.
from
right.
the picture that you got from the computer.
What are you using to do yours?
Well, I use pastels or watercolor.
Okay, what particular, are you using Chat GPT to do it, or?
I use my desktop.
Okay, Mind Valley is one of the creative drawing products that are out there. You can do it now with Chat GPT, but there's other ones as well. But I could change this and you can make it as specific as you want to. If I wanted to do it like a photograph, I would come in and I could tell it what type of lenses to use, a daytime to use, what type of style to use, whatever. It'd be as specific as I wanted to and change it that way. That's interesting, fun stuff. Let's think of another hobby that's out there. What about gardening? Does anybody garden? Let's see.
He's in colors.
Colorize.
You color the alligator.
Not that.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Like.
I just asked it to do it more like Monet. Oh, couldn't do it. Oh, content restrictions.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, can't do it like Claude Monet, but it can do it with an impressionistic style. So we're going to ask it to go ahead and do that.
Like earlier.
Mm-hmm. So those are the fun, pretty things, you know, that you can do and you can play with. All right, I like to quilt, and I've been wanting to do a quilt of chickens. I'm gonna ask it. I want to make a quilt with chicken faces on it. Can you make a pattern? So there we go. There's a quilt pattern with stylized chicken faces. And then I would break it down from there. I would say, okay, I want the blocks 12 by 12. I want them with these colors. I want them, and you do it just like I'm talking to you. You know, if I go and I'm sitting with my mother and we're going to make a quilt and she says, I want to make one that has strawberries on it. And then I'll say, well, how big do we want the quilt to be? How big do we want the blocks to be? What colors are we going to use? Just natural conversation like you would have with an individual is what you would have with your helper here. Now, let me show you something that's a little more serious. Yesterday, I wanted to look into how artificial intelligence could be used if I were targeting mortgage companies with automation. And I simply asked it, what processes in a mortgage company can be automated with artificial intelligence to increase efficiency and increase customer satisfaction? And just as quickly as I drew that picture, it spit out for me all of the areas: customer service and support, application processing, credit scoring and risk assessment, underwriting, personalized offers, loan processing, closing, compliance and reporting, marketing and sales. So if I knew nothing about mortgage, mortgage businesses that are out there, mortgage companies that are out there, this gets me started. And that type of research in the past would have taken how long? A while. I can take something that would be a week or two of research in the past and it spits it out in seconds. So that's where we're getting that figure of it can remove a day and a half out of your week, your work week of time that you're spending on other things. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to, stop with this. This is just the starting point. But then I can delve in a little further and say, tell me more about the marketing and sales part. And then I can go in and say, tell me more about the marketing and sales in this particular demographic, this particular geographic area. Compare this to that. Use all of those skills that I have used in business before, doing it manually, and just put it in here. And it's so much quicker and so much more accurate, except ChatGPT hallucinates. Do you guys know what that means?
I know what hallucinate means.
It will lie to you.
That's why I was tripping out on the color.
That's your garbage in, garbage out.
Garbage in, garbage out. That's right, because this is based on everybody out there that's using ChatGPT right now and all the information that's being provided to it. That's what it's being trained on. But ChatGPT also, if it doesn't know the answer, it'll make up something. It will make up and it will spit that answer out to you, but you can tell it, do not give me a false answer. If you do not know the answer, do not give it to me. In the very, very beginning, and I know I'm out of time, but in the very beginning, there were some attorneys and I said, I wouldn't have hired these attorneys because they weren't worth it in the first place because they did this. they went and did their research using ChatGPT when ChatGPT was brand new. It gave them false cases. They presented them to the court in their briefs. And then the opposing counsel started looking at their argument and said, wait a minute. They start looking up the cases. These cases don't exist. So then they doubled down, though. That was their problem. They should have said then, we made a mistake, judge. Let us fix this. They didn't. They doubled down and they ended up getting sanctioned because of it. But this is a tool like anything else. It's another tool in your tool belt. And I think it can be fascinating for people that are in your phase of life, because anything you want to learn is at your fingertips now. Anything that you've never tried, that you want to try, any place that you've ever wanted to go, you can plan a trip. It will help you plan that trip down to every last little minute on an itinerary. It will help you stay sharp on subjects. I can ask it why it gave me a particular answer. You know, it's like having a genius sitting with you all day, every day.
You know what?
If it doesn't hallucinate, if we tell it, do not hallucinate, and it doesn't lie to us. But there are so many benefits to it, whether it be hobbies, whether it be just you want to have fun and learn more and keep your mind sharp, or if you have a business that you're still running, a business that you would like to start, help somebody else with something, tutoring for children. Imagine a child having their very own personal genius tutor that can learn their style, can learn how they learn, can learn the topics that they like to learn about. That can help children in just a vast array of things. And we can't personally give every child a tutor, but we can now with artificial intelligence. So, any questions? Or anything you want me to do with it before we leave? If you want me to ask it something.
If you want to design a landscaping thing for the backyard,
Mhm.
how would one go about using it?
Let's do it. All right, we'll start a new one here. Okay. So what shape is your backyard?
Rectangle.
Okay. I have a rectangular backyard. Is it sunny or shade?
It's sunny in the middle and then it's got oak trees all around it.
Sunny in the middle and
Okay.
lots of shade. I can't type on this computer. Lots of shade on the edges. What else? You know anything about the soil?
Clay,
Clay soil. Okay. And you want to, do you want flowers? Do you want vegetables? What are we gonna do?
on native plants.
Plan,
Native plants.
okay. Plan a garden with all plants native to South Louisiana. What zone are we in? 9? What zone?
One could use this instead of the old landscaping software they used to have.
I'm pretty sure.
Or maybe
Okay.
they do that now instead of buying expensive software.
Oh, yeah. Yes, definitely. All right. So right away, this is the first thing that it gives us. For the sunny part of your garden, you can focus on native plants that thrive in full sun and can tolerate clay soil. And it gives us options: purple coneflower, black-eyed Susan, Gulf Coast Muhly, Louisiana iris, butterfly weed. It gives us all those options. Then for the shaded edges, it gives us options. It talks about the layout and gives us additional tips. So you would start with that and then go forward, and then you could ask it at some point in time, could you sketch me out what we've just
Okay.
discussed? Or then you would just talk to it, okay, I don't particularly like the cone flowers. Is there something similar that we could put in there? And just keep going and keep moving from there. And then there are things called GPTs. And these have been designed by other folks and are free. I think some of them are paid, but most of them are free that are on here, and they are specific to different specific topics. Like this one's an image generator. This one will write for you. Okay, Canva, that's paid. I have that one. This one will create a logo. I bet you there's something in there that is about landscaping.
You'd
And-
have to be in climate too, with the climate.
Sure.
Warm climate. or southern
Tell them what
climate.
garden zone you're in. Tell them, you know, I want to have more flowers in the spring, less, just everything you could think of.
What is that number 4? I've heard about it. I forget where or who talked about the Kama or something.
Which
The number 4 on your trending.
trending?
The 4.
Right here, Canva. Canva does presentations. It creates videos, it creates, it will create everything from flyers to presentations on YouTube, the whole gamut. I use it, I have a podcast, a true crime podcast, and I use it to make my podcasts.
And it's in a free version and a paid version?
Yes. But I think I pay $14 a month.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's for everything on it. So there's everything you could absolutely imagine out there right now. It's a wonderful time to live.
It's very
Um,
popular.
And I used to be the person that sat in front of my computer, and when it would stop working, I'd say, husband, come help me with my computer. And he'd say, you mean show you what I'm doing? I'm like, nope, just fix it. And I've come a long way since then. So I thank you for your time. If you have any other questions, you're welcome. I've got cards with me. And if I want to pursue something in more detail at another time, I'd be glad to come back. There we go. Thank you.
Daylight again.
You kept looking at my recipes. You have
Hey,
taken
yeah,
that,
you do.
you have taken that topic of embracing AI. I just gave you that topic and that thing, and you really nailed it. I'm ready to embrace it. Are you ready?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
So instead of typing, can you talk to it and just
Oh, yeah.
tell it the same thing you told?
Yes.
You typed in?
Yes, and you can put it on your mobile device
I
too.
don't have my.
You can put it on your phone. So if you don't use a PC or a laptop or whatever at home, then you can utilize it on your phone.
And which one you recommend?
I use both of them.
I
I think Chat GPT is more user friendly, and it tends to be the more popular. But you have in certain browsers, Copilot is Microsoft. It's automatically, it'll pop up when you're using Microsoft. And so you can utilize it that way.
Yeah, I use Copilot because it's embedded at work, because it's embedded in all of our Microsoft products. So I use it more than I use ChatGPT. So.
Yeah. But right now, they're all gonna kind of bounce back and forth on their features. You know, one of them will come out with a feature and then the next one will come out with something similar and then back and forth. But I think OpenAI and ChatGPT is the most popular.
It's okay.
Well, I tell you, I have really enjoyed this.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You are very welcome.
And you go right out to
still.
Starbucks and enjoy yourself.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We got over there. Thank you, the Cajun.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was quite a presentation.
Jim and I still recommend putting glue on your pizza.
I don't know. I'll have to check and see.